dear colleagues, we were not born yesterday. I think most of us know that importation is a lucrative business. Hindi ko sinasabi may nakatanggap, hindi ko sinasabi kung meron man gumawa nitong scheme na to, but it is possible. Why are they pushing? The question begs to be answered. Why are they pushing for importation?
Maaari, bandang Oktubre, baka yung supply na nandito sa Pilipinas ay paubos na. Baka sakali ay kailangan natin mag-import. Pero kakaunti lang. Hindi kasing dami ng kanilang sinasabi dati na 300,000 tons. Siguro malaki na yung 150,000 tons para sa buong taon na ito.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. The big story tonight.
A member of the Sugar Regulatory Board is defending the illegal sugar import order that was previously issued by the agency.
He claims Sugar Order Number 4 was based on facts and went through consultations with industry stakeholders. Shaila Francisco with the big story.
These are the 4 signatories of Sugar Order Number 4, which would have allowed the importation of 300,000 metric tons of sugar, a resolution which the palace said is not authorized by President Bongbong Marcos. Leocadio Sebastian, who served as Agriculture Undersecretary, was the first to publicize his resignation amid the investigation. Sugar Regulatory Administration Board member Roland Beltran also resigned but cited health reasons. On Monday, Malacanang also accepted the resignation of former SRA Administrator Hermenegildo Serafica. But for the Samahang Industriya and Agrikultura, they are still not off the hook.
Para malaman natin bakit basta-basta sila nag-decide and parang may connivance na nangyari. At that point, dapat kung walang malis yung ginawa niya, dapat pinaalam niya kay Presidente. Hindi naman niya minention yun. Di ba? So, ibig sabihin, may tinatago.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri is also urging the Blue Ribbon Committee to investigate the matter.
My dear colleagues, we were not born yesterday. I think most of us know that importation is a lucrative business. Hindi ko sinasabi may nakatanggap, hindi ko sinasabi kung meron man gumawa nitong scheme na to, but it is possible. Why are they pushing? The question begs to be answered. Why are they pushing for importation?
However, acting SRA board member Aurelio Valderrama Jr. defended the import order. He said it is based on facts and underwent consultations among industry stakeholders. Valderrama added that the board acted as mandated following deliberations consistent with the president's requests. He noted, though, that he supports the ongoing investigation so that they may clear their name. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
Well, based on that Senate hearing, I mean, I was reading on it a while ago, 600 million daw yung posibleng kickback if it were done out of corruption. But others argue that it could have been done out of good faith.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of questions, of course. You've heard a lot of suspicions from so many people, including politicians, that it may be tainted with corruption. But on the other hand, you also have the president saying that we will eventually have to import sugar. So I suppose it's a question of when and by how much. The fact is that even the president says that we will have to import sugar. So,
well, is there a shortage or not? Let's hear on that, on the recent development of the sugar supply issues in the country. We have with us Manolet Lamata, President of the United Sugar Producers Federation of the Philippines. He is joining us live via Zoom. Welcome to The Big Story. Good evening.
good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ma'am Gretchen. Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir, tonight. Well, of course, we do have so many questions. We are not that familiar with the sugar industry itself. You are part of the sugar industry. Let's boil it down to the very basics so that the viewers can understand it more completely. Labas pa po doon sa question ng on whether or not the order was signed following a process. Is there a crisis of sugar supply? Is there a shortage of sugar supply? And by when? And by how much?
Well, two answers to your question. One is we wouldn't know for sure if we have a short supply or not because we have never had an inventory. The SRE has never inventoried the industry. Unlike previous administrations, usually 3 surveys in 1 year. Prior to milling, harvesting, that's on September. One in the middle, that's December, January, right on the peak. And after milling, post-harvest, we have to know how much sugar is left vis-a-vis our consumption. It has never happened, not in so many years, under the administration of Serafica. Number 2, is there really a shortage? Is there really a crisis? My answer is, I don't think so. Why? Why? Because if you go to the palengke, you go to the supermarket, there is sugar. Contrary to what they have been telling all of us, makaubos na, by the end of August, no more sugar, etc., etc. There is still sugar in this area. Yun lang, sobrang mahal. That's the problem.
Pero sir, Gretch, before I pass it on to you, I suppose that also raises the question dahil nga sobrang mahal, umabot ng 100 daw ang kilo. And some people say that that's as a result possibly of a problem with supply and demand factors in. So ano po? But is it a question of supply? Is that why the prices are going up so much?
I think it's a question of they are holding on to sugars.
Oh.
Unti-unti lang pinalabas. You know, these people, that's their livelihood. They're traders. They buy low, they sell high. So now they're grabbing the opportunity to make a heyday. You know, these people buy sugar from us wholesale at 45 pesos per kilo.
Okay.
Of course, there's a process. They have to refine, they do this, do that. But to sell it at 100, 110, mga kriminal na yan, that is too much. We do not agree with that whatsoever.
Yeah, that's alarming, sir. Sir, last question, sir, from me. Are you saying, therefore, that there is an artificial shortage of sugar caused by hoarding or profiteering? Is that what you're saying? Na wala naman talagang problema sa supply ng asukal at dapat walang problema sa presyo, pero meron lang kumikita?
The only way to be sure of this problem, of this issue, is very simple, actually. DTI has the powers to open up bodegas and check and inspect. Let them do their job. Let them go, get the records from the SRA. Lahat po ng mga bodegas ng all sugar traders is there. The listing is there. All they need to do is grab that and get a team and survey the bodegas. You will watch and you will see if I am wrong or I'm right. Then we will know exactly the condition of our inventory.
Sir, just to clarify, the artificial shortage is being caused, according to you, by sugar traders. So does that, in a way, shed light on the recent resignations of Leocadio Sebastian? Also, Serafica, your reactions to the resignations happening at the DA?
Okay, your first question, is this the cause? The only way to find out is to inventory. Okay, when I say inventory, you open up the bodegas and check whether there's sugar or not. Why am I saying that this could be the culprit on hoarding? Because if you go to the palenques, ma'am, if you go to the retail store, there is sugar. There is no shortage. How much sugar you want, you can buy. Yun lang, sobrang mahal. So I'm just putting one plus one. If it's sobrang mahal, it's because somebody is releasing the sugar slowly, little by little, to kung yari, may shortage.
Okay, meron po kasi nagsasabi na these resignations happened not because of the import, but because of politics. Any insight into that?
No, ma'am, I don't believe so, because we were made to believe that the president ordered the importation of 300,000 tons. They even called it national emergency. That is why we were asked to submit our proposals if we agreed on the orders of the president to import 300,000 metric tons. They even mentioned, this comes from Sebastian, who is the chief of staff of the president. So we were made to believe that this was the president's orders. So we wrote a resolution, our federation wrote this resolution to the SRA confirming that yes, we stand by what the president wants in order to alleviate the problems in the country, to import all refined 300,000 metric tons. Lo and behold, sugar order number 4 comes out and hinati nila. Half was 150,000 for brown sugar and half was for refined. We did not agree to any brown sugar to be imported. Why? The sugar industry is already harvesting. We started milling 2 weeks ago, and we are going to be awash with raw sugar. Sino na naman ang binigyan ng favors with this sugar order number 4? They are the refiners. They want to import raw sugar and have it refined, and they'll kikita sila sa refining fees. That is not good. That is not fair. It should have just been all refined.
Yes, sir. Sir, we do understand your position, sir, but at the same time, there are concerns being raised by several groups. For example, PCCI, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, si George Barcelon, sabi niya, baka tumaas ang presyo ng processed food and beverages because of what he called the sugar crisis. And at the same time, I think it was Rafi Alunan, the former Interior Secretary, who is also from Negros, who raised concerns on behalf of the makers or the manufacturers of soft drinks, which use, of course, a lot of sugar. And pahabol ko rin po, in his column today, si former Economic Planning Secretary Shel Habito, said na in the first half of the year, 27% pong binagsak ng sugarcane industry because of bad weather last year. So he was also implying that we are facing some sort of crisis as far as supply is concerned. I'm wondering lang po how you view all these things put together. Yung prediction ni Shel Habito na bumagsak yung supply because of the harvest. And number 2, yung concerns ng business and ng soft drink manufacturers na tataas ang presyo ng sugar.
Okay, let's go first to Mr. Alunan's
Yes, sir.
announcement. Mr. Alunan works for Coca-Cola.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And itong mga taga-Coke, mga sinungaling yan. All they want is to buy cheap imported sugar, highly subsidized sugar from abroad and not buy from the local. Ito sila, nakinabang sila sa 200,000 metric tons sugar order number 3, which was implemented 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. They were the biggest who were able to buy from the refined. Okay, they are now claiming na wala na silang stock, paubos na. Sir, na ngayon it's still in the bodegas of the traders. They have not withdrawn that sugar, meaning to say there are still sugar to be used. Okay, so don't believe what these people are saying because it's not true. Now, as to the production aspect on the side, yes, agriculture is totally dependent on weather, and we have a lot of storms. I'm not sure about the 27% drop, but yes, we did drop a bit because of weather. This year, we have very good weather so far. Hopefully, it continues, and we will be experiencing an increase in our production.
All right, maraming salamat po for joining us tonight. Thank you to Unifed President Manolet Lamata.
Maraming salamat, sir.
Join us in the conversation. Our big question tonight: how should government address the sugar supply issues? Share your thoughts on our Facebook and YouTube live stream or post a tweet with the hashtag #TheBigStory. More stories after the break. Keep it here on One News, all sides, all the time.
A key sector in our transformation plans is that of energy. Another fundamental requirement for growth and increased employment will be the availability of cheap, reliable energy. This even comes under the category of ease of doing business. If we are to attract investors, both local and foreign, to set up shop here in the Philippines. At present, our demand for energy far exceeds our reliable supply. We must increase the level of energy production. We must look at every possible option that would be appropriate for the Philippine situation. There is some room to expand our present power supply through existing power sources, but this is only to a very limited extent. We must build new power plants. We must take advantage of all the best technology that is now available, especially in the areas of renewable energy. Our search for new power sources should always be with an eye to improving the mix of the energy supply between traditional and renewable sources. The technology on renewable energy is progressing rapidly, and many of these technologies are appropriate for the Philippines. I believe that it is time also to re-examine our strategy towards building nuclear power plants in the Philippines. We will comply, of course, with the International Atomic Energy Agency regulations for nuclear power plants as they have been strengthened after Fukushima. In the area of nuclear power, there have been new technologies developed that allow smaller scale modular nuclear plants and other derivations thereof. Once again, PPPs will play a part in support as funding in this period is limited. To my fellow Filipinos, ang aking mga minamahal na kababayan, batid ko na hindi madali ang ating pinagdaraanan sa nakaraang higit na 2 taon. Alam ko rin na ang bawat isa sa inyo ay ginagawa ang lahat ng inyong makakaya upang patuloy na harapin ang lahat na pagsubok sa kasalukuyan. I do not intend to diminish the risks and the challenges that we face in this turbulent time in global history. And yet, I see sunlight.
You're watching The Big Story here on One News. It's been 5 years since Kian Delos Santos was killed in cold blood by the police in an anti-drug operation. Last Monday, his body was exhumed and will be re-examined in hopes of uncovering a deeper truth about his death. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro with the story.
He became the face of abuse of power by the police under former President Duterte's drug war. His name is Kian Delos Santos, 17 years old, helplessly dragged and gunned down by the Caloocan police in a supposed drug bust in 2017. If not for a found CCTV footage, Kian may have been reported as a nanlaban case, or where police claimed the suspect fought back violently. 5 years after Kian's death, his body will be re-examined to determine how exactly he was killed.
Sa aming karanasan, kahit buto na, Jacob, nagsasalita pa rin. At merong maraming mailalabas na katotohanan. Maasa ako na sa buto ni Kian, may makita, mangusap pa rin siya hanggang sa huling sandali.
On Monday, Kian's remains were exhumed from his resting place as the lease for the grave has expired. But before he's transferred to another grave site, the family allowed forensic pathologist Dr. Raquel Fortun to examine the body.
I would like to check the earlier pronouncements of where bullets entered in the head and where they exited. That can still be done kung bones na lang. Very much curious ako doon sa sinasabi ng PAO na meron daw gunshot wound sa chest.
Dr. Fortun says it's possible that Kian's remains could reveal more secrets behind his violent death. Was Kian only hit by 3 bullets? Did the suspects beat him up before he was killed? Fortun says the re-examination could answer these questions.
I have seen some cases, I think to date about 9, where the death certificate says natural cause. Obviously, mali. Tapos ito yung pamilya, sasabihin, hindi binaril siya.
Based on earlier examination, Kian bowed his head when he was gunned down by the police. This contradicts the earlier police report that he violently resisted arrest. In 2018, the 3 policemen were found guilty of murder.
Examining the body is a way to corroborate or refute whatever account there is. And many times, it's between what the family says they saw and what the police say happened.
Final na ito. Wala naman kaming habol dito eh. Gusto lang namin malaman yung katotohanan. At karapatan namin yun. Hindi ko, karapatan po ng pamilya. Gusto ko namin malaman kung ilan talaga ang pumasok na bala kay Kian.
Kian's uncle Randy is now a member of Project Arise, together with Father Flavi, who blessed Kian's exhumed remains. The group offers support to families of victims of extrajudicial killings, specifically those whose 5-year burial leases have also expired. After the re-examinations, Kian's remains will be cremated and will be brought to his final resting place. Mobile journalist Jacob Lazaro, we are One News.
The Justice Department has indicted 16 persons, including 4 nuns, for allegedly financing the CPP-NPA. The nuns are members of the national church-based organization Rural Missionaries of the Philippines. According to Frontline Defenders, RMP is composed of priests and laypersons that empower farmers, fisherfolk, and indigenous people by educating them on their rights. The DOJ said that the 16 individuals are facing charges in violation of the Terrorism Financing Prevention Act, as well as the Suppression Act of 2012 that has a punishment of reclusion perpetua and a fine of 500,000 to 1 million pesos. No bail is recommended for this case, which was filed before the Regional Trial Court of Iligan City. Welcome back to work.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long time.
Was I absent?
Medyo matagal-tagal ka rin nawala, ano? Mga
2.5
2
weeks.
weeks, oo.
Yeah. It was a good break from reality.
Any reminders for our audiences on weathering the COVID-19 pandemic or the disease, rather?
Well, if it's not, if you don't get bad symptoms, just chill. If you can afford to, at least.
Oo, magpahinga. Oo, pareho kami kasing dumaan sa COVID eh. Oo.
It was a long break for me, but right after the break, we will talk about Darna's much-anticipated comeback to primetime television after 12 years. That when the big story returns. Keep it here in One News.
Pinagdaraanan sa nakaraang higit na 2 taon. Alam ko rin na ang bawat isa sa inyo ay ginagawa ang lahat ng inyong makakaya upang patuloy na harapin ang lahat na pagsubok sa kasalukuyan. I do not intend to diminish the risks and the challenges that we face in this turbulent time in global history. And yet, I see sunlight filtering through these dark clouds. We have assembled the best Filipino minds to help navigate us through this global crisis. We will endure. Let our Filipino spirit ever remain undimmed. I know this in my mind. I know it in my heart. I know it in my very soul. The state of the nation is sound. As for the horror stories that we have heard about the poor quality of educational materials and supplies that are being given to our schools, this must end. Our children must always be equipped with the best that we can provide. Ang edukasyon ay ang tangi nating pamana sa ating mga anak na hindi mawawaldas. Kaya anumang gastusin sa kanilang pag-aaral ay hindi tayo nagtitipid. Hindi rin tayo nagtatapon. And once again, I am not talking about history or what is being taught. I am talking about materials that are necessary for effective teaching in this day and age. Children now need connectivity to the internet. They need devices to use. They need computers. Education.
You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. Over 12 years since her last flight on television, Darna has finally returned to primetime as fans were abuzz about the first episode. MJ Marfori with the report.
The cast and creators of Darna, the TV series, were on full force last night as the superhero made her long-awaited return after 12 years. Also present during the event was the family of Mars Ravelo, the writer and creator of the superhero. As the first episode was released, Darna dominated social media. Jane De Leon couldn't help but get emotional after working hard on the role of Narda and Darna for 3 years.
Nakakatuwa kasi parang habang pinapanood namin, nagpa-flashback talaga lahat. And of course, yung mga pinaghirapan namin, sobrang worth it. And ayun, syempre gagaling ng mga kasama kong mga artiste eh.
Janela Salvador's Fordanginig scene last night was also popular among netizens. She even recalled some of her favorite scenes during the pilot episode.
Ang cute ng dynamics ni Narda at saka ni Ding. Yung mga napanood nyo ngayon, walang-wala pa yun sa mga na-shoot namin. Marami pang pasabog and marami pang mangyayari.
Joshua Garcia, meanwhile, felt relieved that the public can now watch all the work they put in for the series.
Masaya lang ako kasi finally naipalabas na namin.
Also earning huge praises from fans and netizens was Isa Calzado, who played Leonor, the OG Darna. Many were also wowed by the special effects shown in the fight scene.
Bakit ako? Na hindi ko kaya. Nakita niyo naman ho yun, di ba?
It's safe to say that there will be plenty to look forward to every 8 p.m. on TV5 as we follow Narda's journey to becoming For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Ang laki ng batong nilulunod niya.
Grabe, ano?
Oo.
May sinasabi ka kanina
May
eh.
ilaw pa. Hindi, huwag na.
Hindi, pero ano, para sa akin, after ng Ang Probinsyano that has aired for 7 years, it's kind of refreshing to see a woman take the superhero role. Hindi ko alam kung biased ako, baka pwede.
Hindi ako, I would appreciate watching a superhero woman more than a superhero man. Biased lang ako.
A shout out to the wife of Ed Lingao, the real superhero in his life.
Suwabe. That's a big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log in or log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analysis. I'm Ed Lingao.
The Big Story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Gretchen Ho. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.